Ladies and gentlemen, it is another week and more information that needs to be sorted through. So we asking you to believe the hype with our good friend Legally Hype. Good morning.
Good morning. What it do? What it do?
Looks like everybody's doing a little bit of a lot. All right. So we've been following this Young Thug and Gunna situation very closely. And shockingly enough, the person I felt like had like the bare minimum, if anything, at all to do with anything, Gunna has been denied bail, as well as Young Thug. What do you know? What's the latest and greatest?
Okay, so boom. So when you have a bond hearing, right, there are 4 elements that the attorney has to basically overcome. So one of them is whether or not the defendant is a flight risk, right?
Right.
The other one is if they're a danger to themselves or the community. The other one is if they have a risk of reoffending. And the last one is if they have a risk of influencing or intimidating witnesses. So the last one, the risk of influencing or intimidating witnesses, that is the one the judge went with. The judge said, we got a high risk that if you get out, you might make some people feel some type of way and they may not come and testify the way they're supposed to testify, or people might change their story, or you might be able to make some moves where, somebody may come up missing or something like that. And we can't take no chances because what they talking about in this little report, y'all sound dangerous. And you got to remember with a RICO, right? With a RICO, even though Gunna may have done the least of everybody, it don't even matter what he responsible for. What person number 1 did, person number 13, person number 22, whatever on the list, they all together. So under that, the judge is like, nah, bro, you're gonna have to sit here for a little bit. You feel me? And because of some things, the way the calendar working right now, y'all ain't got no date until 2023.
That is wild. That is the truest definition of guilty by association if I've ever heard it myself.
That's why your mama used to tell you, watch the folks you hang with.
Absolutely. I heard somebody else once famously say, you stay in the barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut. Exactly. And got to watch where you're getting them cuts at. Well, let's switch gears a little bit, man. Something that's completely captured the attention and the energy of America, actually like for the last couple of weeks, man. Gun violence, it's out of control again. Unfortunately, more and more evidence that we are back outside. We saw what took place in Buffalo and then also again in Uvalde, Texas, at Robb Elementary School. And people were like, President Biden, you said something should be done, but you're the president. Now, a lot of people don't understand how all these things work. And even sometimes myself included, because I do sometimes like grant dictator power on top of a president, like sign the executive order, Joe. But apparently it's not that easy, right?
It's really not. So, okay, so boom. So, our big prayers, he came through one time. He used his pen finally to like write something down on paper, put his name on some paperwork that we have been asking him about for a minute. And so he signed this new little police reform thing. But this is the deal. The president only deals with the federal aspect, right? He don't got nothing to do with the states, right? We got separation of states, separation of feds. That's a big issue. So what he signed in order only goes for federal officers, basically. And he is hoping that by putting this executive order in place, the states will probably pick up on this. States may be like, oh, we should adopt this. Maybe these are some good things we should do. So some of the big things in that executive order, for example, are a national database of police officers if they have been in trouble for any type of police conduct, right? We also have hopefully, right, the states will kind of tighten up a little bit on their use of force, chokeholds and things like that, because we saw a lot of that in a lot of our police cases recently. And then one of the other big ones is like no transferring of military equipment to law enforcement agencies. So again, the thing with that is that it's only on a federal level. Really, at this point, it's just words on paper,
right?
But it's encouraging, right? So hopefully, some of these states, especially some of the more progressive states, it's primaries coming up. People are voting, so you never know who your sheriff gonna be or whatever the case may be. They may adopt these practices. Right now, this is strictly for the federal police officers.
Now, real quick, Legally Hype, for people who want to try to instill some level of gun, laws and some changes. We did just talk about local elections. A lot of people are saying, well, that power truly falls in the hand of Mitch McConnell. Now, for those who don't understand the whole political process, what role does he play in the passing of laws like that?
Okay, so boom. So a lot of what we're hoping is that like Congress will come together as a whole and say, you know what, we're just going to pass one big legislative act, right? That's going to go for all the states, which is why everyone has a state representative in Congress, right? So they can make that decision, and then that'll work for the states as a whole. Mitch McConnell, money making Mitch, right? He loved holding up stuff that's going to mess with his pockets.
Right.
Or maybe the people that support them, right? So we know NRA, they got some of y'all Congress folks in a chokehold right now.
Big time. And this has been a problem for a long time, Legally Hype. Not only a lobbyist, creating a whole bunch of like bad conditions within the world of politics, but you also have these special interest groups that line the pockets of a lot of these politicians. And it's a conflict of interest if I've ever seen or heard one. And it's been an ongoing problem. And, it seems like when God took away Mitch McConnell's chin, it also took his soul, because he's always on the wrong side of everything, it seems.
Totally agree with that. And this is why it's important for us to vote, and it's important for us to know who we voted for. My whole thing is this, right? These folks been working together for 15, 20, 30 some years. Why y'all can't figure out how to get along?
It just seems like the disruption is the only eruption they know. You know what I mean? So
that's it. And that's why it's time for them to go. But with that being said, in the states, right, you can still vote for certain legislation. You can still lobby for certain legislation in your states if you do want gun changes. There are a lot of smaller organizations out there that can support this type of thing. The thing is, they like put your money where your mouth is, or put your mouth where your money is, basically. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the issues that we have right now. And we're seeing it play out full force on the screen, right? Like money talks, period. And so these folks not giving up their checks so we could be safe. They're trying to keep their guns. And that's cool. But we're going to have to figure out a way to meet in the middle some kind of way somehow. So we're going to please vote, y'all. Please.
And, I say it all the time. If you want your guns, cool. Let us chip your guns so we know where your guns are when they're moving around. And I think that's a fair request. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. You want to have all that Call of Duty Modern Warfare stuff? Cool. We need to know when that gun is moving to a public place, so the law enforcement and the people that are around that are prepared to handle those things know that a threat is en route.
No, I completely agree with you. Like 100%. We got to figure out something, because it's out here, it's going crazy. But my thing is too, like, what you need all these guns for? Who's gonna run up on you? The Avengers?
You absolutely right. And even at a hunting level, how sporting is it that you're killing a deer with an assault rifle? If you really want to be a badass hunter, pull out the bow and arrow and do it like Chief Wampum and all them used to do back in the day.
Go old school. And if you got a problem with somebody, run up and get done up. What happened to this?
The crazy thing I will say, when you remove guns, like knives and bottling goes up. Like, look at, like the gun rates in Canada and the UK are wild low, but stabbings are through the roof. But, in order to stab somebody, you really meant it. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to shoot somebody. Like, I could clap them from a distance, but when you got to stab somebody, people have a hard time addressing people eye to eye and really exacting their vengeance.
And if you ain't got that, you ain't bold like that, you probably shouldn't be getting down with whoever you're getting down with, right?
Big facts. Every time, all the time. Well, Legally Hype, thank you as always. Always appreciate your insight, your energy, and your intel. If people want to tap in, not only to follow you, but also pick up some awesome merch, where can they go?
Okay, I am Legally Hype. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of that, and the Legally Hype website, legallyhype.com. It will be back up this week, and y'all can pick up y'all merch. So check me out.
We are the Morning Hustle.